think also these national parks, if these parks unite us as Americans, the way that I think right now we need this so much. You can't go into a national park without feeling so proud of your country and its history and the government that preserved these places for everyone to enjoy for generations to come.
We'll talk about this and much more today. Welcome to a Writer's Day podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to Writer's Day podcast. My name is Ruth Douthit and I'm an award-winning multi-published author, and I started this podcast for you, people who love to learn more about writing and to listen to award-winning, best-selling authors talk about their writing journeys and their new books coming out. And you're going to love listening to my guest today. And if you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to my podcast, following me, and leave me a review. And as always, head over to my website, artbyruth.com. You know the drill. Sign up for my newsletter to find out more about my upcoming releases like Fatal Standoff, Book 2 in my Desert Shadows Suspense series. I'm super excited for you to read this story. And I always give away a book every month. And so be sure and sign up for my newsletter today at artbyruth.com. Suzanne Woods Fisher. She's back with me again today on a Writer's Day to talk about her newest book, Capture the Moment. She is an award-winning, best-selling author of more than 40 books. That's right, including The Sweet Life and her wonderful Amish stories. And so she's here today to talk about this amazing story about a photographer who goes to the Grand Teton National Park. So you know the drill. Grab your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, kick back and relax as we listen to Suzanne talk about her new book. I'm excited to have my friend Suzanne Woods Fisher with me again to talk about this new book, Capture the Moment. Welcome back, Suzanne.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this today.
Great. Yeah, I was reading the press release about this story and it sounds so wonderful. So first of all, though, tell us what you've been up to lately. And I know it's like 4 months into the year and I've been busy. So let us know what you've been up to. And then we'll talk about Capture the Moment.
I know it has gone fast. I can't believe we are almost at the point where school is starting to look towards the end for summer to come and that kind of thing. It just seems like
I know.
Weeks away. But I've had probably the biggest thing in my life is that I have 4 kids, and 2 of whom I have 2 girls and 2 boys, married now with families of their own, and they're both sons happen to be living far away. One is even overseas and one is in the Midwest. And they both are coming back. So, which is so great because, because generally that doesn't happen very much. And I don't even take it for granted in the sense that I don't know how long this could last because they're both busy companies and transfers seem to be part of it. But that's kind of what's really taking up a lot of thought time and energy and preparation. My husband even went early we're right ahead of Easter now, and my husband went early to our sons in the Midwest to help them get the house ready to put on the market, and he's doing all the things there that I kind of been wanting him to do at my house.
Be like, hey, when you get back.
Exactly.
Oh, that's exciting, though. I think that's neat how the family's coming together to help each other. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think once kids leave, the home and get married and start their families, it is kind of rare that they come back near mom and dad.
Very much. And yet it is so wonderful because, well, I have to say, visiting is great too, because you do get that 24-hour a day time with little ones.
Mm-hmm.
But there is something very special about seeing them on a regular basis and popping in and out of their life and not staying too long and being a nuisance in someone else's home, but just enjoying who they are. And I feel like I love getting to know the grandchildren in that just intimate way that just comes with time.
Yeah, and it's so special too. My in-laws lived really close to us, and so they would come by and pick up our son every Friday and take him out to dinner and just do something fun with him. From the time he was 30 days old until he was 11 years old. They pretty
Wow.
much did it every single Friday.
Oh, I love those stories.
Isn't that neat? It was such a blessing. And he's very, very close. He's 30 years old now, and he still goes to see them every Friday. He visits them at their home. Isn't that neat?
That's a really neat story.
So yeah, I mean, you're going to be given a chance to really be a part of their lives and give your sons, their families a break. And, because sometimes they need that time alone.
They definitely do. I have very spirited grandchildren.
What a nice way of putting it. Well, now let's talk about Capture the Moment. Where did this story come from?
I am so excited about this story. I just can't wait for it to hit the shelves. And it's kind of my first venture a little close to suspense. Not
Hmm.
totally, not as scary the way some suspense books are now, but it's really a neat story and basically about a bear. This is how it all began for me, was getting acquainted with a bear named, who's been tagged, a true bear, true life, 399.
Oh,
And
yeah.
bear in Grand Teton National Park, sort of an iconic grizzly bear. She's known
Mhm.
as the Queen of the Tetons. PBS has even done a documentary, and I followed her on Instagram. She says it's hard to type with claws, but she's just a really interesting animal in the sense that I think she has taught people so much about living amongst people in the wild together and how to make it work, because she's known for motherhood. And she's one of the oldest living grizzly bears to reproduce. Even a few years ago, she came out of hibernation with four, quadruplets with cubs. And that is not an easy task for a mother of any age. And I'm speaking in the bear world. As you're feeding, you're protecting, you're also teaching them how to take care of themselves and fend for their own food and that kind of thing. It's a big task for an aging bear. And she has done such a great job. And the other thing she's done, I think this is what just endears me to her. She realized early on that being closer to the road where people were kept her cubs safe, because male grizzlies will attack and kill cubs because they want to mate with the female and get back to business. But the male grizzlies won't get near the people. So she has stayed close to the roads. I'm not talking petting distance. I
Mhm.
mean from a good, safe distance. But she's even taught her cubs to look left and right before they cross the road.
Oh.
So charming. And there was something about this bear, Ruth. There's just something about that bear. And we had a special anniversary. We went to Grand Teton National Park,
Mm.
and that is where the whole idea of a story of trying to show the wild and the people and how does it work kind of came together. And I have a character who is a zoo photographer named Kate Cunningham. And I think readers are going to really enjoy Kate because she's raised in a highly academic home. She just never fit. School was really hard for her, but taking pictures worked for her. And so she was always a little bit of the odd one out, a little bit of the square peg. But the photography is one thing she's done well. And she has studied animals in a zoo setting for years. She's had a really good career. And one day, a National Geographic editor comes by and just kind of throws out this idea, watching her as she's photographing bears. Hey, if you can get a picture of 399, we will take a look at it. And with that, Kate just drops everything and heads to Grand Teton National Park, where she's determined to get a picture of 399 that no other wildlife photographer has gotten, because she thinks it'll be easy, and it's not.
Yeah, because she goes from zoo photography, where the animals are just right there, to wildlife photography. That's quite a leap, isn't it?
I think when it was really interesting studying what happens to animals in a zoo, because they actually develop a type of synchronicity where because they're fed at the same time, they eat at the same time, they sleep at the same time, they almost take on just more obviously predictable routines in that kind of a setting. Kate actually really had no idea what the unpredictability of being in the wildlife was all about. So that's a big deal for her. There's other wildlife photographers. For example, 399 usually had maybe 35 to 40 plus wildlife photographers who were staked out as she comes out of hibernation to get that first shot of her. This is their livelihood. And Kate thinks she can just join them, and that's not going to work either. And they actually end up calling her Zoo Girl, which is not a compliment. All kinds of things. She doesn't realize how accustomed animals become to human noise, and not true in the wild.
Especially the scent too of humans.
Mhm. Good point. You're right. The scent, a cell phone sound, all kinds of things like that.
Wow. And also when you think of the national parks, especially Grand Teton, where it's so volatile. I mean, one day it could be sunny and beautiful, and the next day a blizzard could hit. And we're talking July, right? I mean, my brother worked there for a long time, and I
Yeah.
remember him calling us on the 4th of July, hey, it's snowing here. And we're like, what? So, I mean, that's another challenge for your character, isn't it?
Yes, and I'm glad you said that because one thing I loved about Grand Teton as a almost a main character in the story, just
Yeah.
the way you just described it, where all of a sudden it comes to life and has an an effect of its own on the whole story. And yes, there is some weather issues, but their history of that park is fascinating because you go back to the indigenous people, which really there's so much story there. You go to the trapping period with the
Mm.
beavers and the rendezvous they would have, and then to later where the Mormon group had come in and tried to ranch the area, and they only lasted a few years. The weather was so severe, but that Mormon barn is one of the most photographed barns in America.
Oh, I
Still,
had no idea.
your brother
Oh,
would know. I'm sure
yeah,
he
I'll
would.
ask him about that. That is so neat. I had no idea. I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I bet you've even recognized it. It's a beautiful kind of barn. The setting is so beautiful. So anyway, there's so much to just like an onion you're peeling, and more
Well,
layer.
it must have, was it quite a chore for you to describe that setting? I mean, those of us who've seen how beautiful it is, I've never been there in person, but the photography, of course, I can't even imagine attempting to describe the setting. How did that happen for you?
Well, some of the pictures that we took a lot of pictures while we were there. There's some that are almost words don't even come close to describing the sense of awe you feel. And we kind of overuse the word awe and awesome, and yet that's exactly how you feel standing at the banks of the Snake River at sunset, and the Grand Tetons are literally reflected in the river
Mm.
like a mirror. And it just, even my photography is beautiful. It's just stunning what is there. At
Oh,
every turn, you go from, I think what's unusual about Grand Teton is you have the flat valley, and then, which is Hole, Jackson Hole, that's what Hole means. And then you've got these suddenly rising steep mountains, granite mountains, and there's nothing in between. There's no foothills. Very
hmm,
unique that way.
that is. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be such a challenge for an author to really make the reader feel like they are right there with Kate, walking and looking for the bear. That's wonderful.
I think that, but mostly I hope readers want to go. I just hope
Mm,
I hope they want to see it for themselves, just like you're saying, the Molten Barn, I've never heard of that,
yeah, I mean, I'm just reading about your book and I want to go. We almost were able to go back in 2017, I think it was, but we ended up not being able to make it. So it's still on my bucket list. I want to see this park.
Yeah. And of course, Yellowstone is not far. It's an hour and a half or so, and
Mm.
a whole different world. I mean, just these sulfur flats and the Old Faithful, the geysers. I mean, and the same wildlife, so different, and yet there it is, not far. It's just the Western parks are absolutely remarkable.
They are. Now, in your story, though, there's a handsome park ranger. Tell us about this guy.
He's always a handsome. Yeah. Yeah. So this is a guy named Grant Cooper called Coop. And he is actually a biology teacher during the school year. And in the summer, he is a seasonal ranger at Grand Teton. And he kind of is the type of guy who prefers bears to people. So summer is just to his liking. He loves it. but part of what he does is just make sure the bears are safe from the people, tourists, photographers, etc., and that they are also safe from the bears. And that's where he kind of interacts with Kate because she's always doing something that is not appropriate. She's a little naive. She's not an arrogant person or anything like that or stupid, but she just there's a few things she does that are really missteps out in the wild. So he's kind of got his eye on her. He's sort of keeping watch over her, especially as the other photographers are isolating her and making her feel foolish. And they sort of get to know each other. I have to tell you, though, they both have other relationships in their life that they're working through. So it's not like a clean, tidy, you know, they see each other and that's it. Not at all. They have baggage.
Yeah, that's how life is, though, right?
Well, baggage that is part of their life to the it's still they're still hanging out of the back.
Yeah, we all bring it in with us.
Yeah. So they still have some things to work through, but he does end up helping her get a good photo or does his best to help her to, and that's really a special part of the story because it ends up revealing some things in both of them that they didn't know about themselves.
Well, so you also touch on wildlife poaching. How did you approach this darker topic?
So poaching is it is a true part of any kind of wildlife story. It's I think it's just awful. And I want to be clear, poaching is not the same thing as hunting for your family, but it's right up there with trophy hunting, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
poaching is really taking an animal's body parts and selling them on the black market. There's such disregard for the animal. They're only taking off in a few of the body parts and leaving the carcass. And it's just such a, I mean, it's interestingly enough, it's why the very first ranger ever was part of the national parks because he was there to stop the poaching. This was way back in the late 1800s and early 1900s. So it's been a part of man for as long as you can imagine, but I wanted to kind of bring this story in because I kept hearing about some of the problems that 399 faced. There was a threat a while ago of a poacher who wanted her for a living room rug. So things like that that just get under your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So in this story, I have in between each chapter is what is called an interlude, and I have a just a page from the poacher's point of view as he is preparing for the hunt to find.
Ooh.
So they're sort of like both on this path to get the best shot, pun intended,
Mm-hmm.
of the bear all along the way. That's where the
Ooh.
suspense comes in. And that's what's kind of fun. It was really interesting to try to work from his point of view, how he went about this, how carefully he's a well-known poacher in sort of the dark world, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
How would you
So
call
you
it?
had to kind of get into his mind as you were writing his point of view, right?
Why he did it, how he started, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah.
Well, so what might be some of the themes, though, you have running through your story? Capture the moment.
I think some of it is the balance between the wild and the, people or rational beings, that kind of thing. How we sort of live and coexist and can do it if it's done well. That sort of sounds like I think when I think of the wild, I also think of just nature and of just respecting and having this great reverence for this beautiful earth God has created. So some of that is just the backdrop of the wilderness and wanting people to see it and slow down and respect it and enjoy it and get out to it as much as they can because it is remarkable what's out there. I think also these national parks, if I can kind of stay on this theme for a moment, these parks unite us as Americans in a way
Mm-hmm.
that I think right now we need this so much. It makes us, you can't go into a national park without feeling so proud of your country and its history and the government that preserved these places for everyone to enjoy for generations to come. The people that are working there now to try to continue to protect the park and the animals and the people. And there's just this wonderful sense of being, we have more in common than what separates us. So that's a lot of where it is, just those larger themes. But I think also this sense of understanding that God is at work in your life in the most remarkable ways, even through animals.
It's so true. And folks, if you want to get closer to God, go visit one of these national parks. Because I tell you what, we went to Yosemite a few years ago. And when you're in the Yosemite Valley looking up at Half Dome and all the other parts, the waterfalls and such, we just couldn't help but just be amazed at God and his beautiful creation and how you were saying how it's almost like a gift to us,
Yes,
to
love that, Ruth.
to go and see it. It's like God saying, "Here you go. This is my gift to you. You had a hard week or a hard year, here,
Mhm.
enjoy this creation." And it's like, wow.
You're so right, just that it is fills the soul. And there's even, remember listening to a TED talk that talked about the sense of awe and the remarkable feeling that when you stand in front of something so much larger and grander than yourself, like the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
oddly enough, you are filled not with insignificance, but with this sense of joy and peace. And I think it's such an odd sign of we know we are created beings with a loving creator because we feel good in front of something so huge and overwhelming and dangerous. And yet,
Yes.
wait.
Oh, it's just when you stand in front of the Grand Canyon, I mean, I know so many photographers have tried to capture it, but really the human eye is the only thing that can really capture the true beauty of it. But you're in awe of what God can do and what he has done. And you just remember, and he loves me, he did all this, but he also loves me too. And he's concerned with every aspect of my life.
Mhm. I
But you're
love
right, it is dangerous. And folks, I want you to remember that before you pick up your camera and go hunting for a bear. Uh, it is extremely dangerous. These national parks can turn on you in a second with a thunderstorm, lightning, flash flood. I've been in the bottom of the Grand Canyon 2 times on a pleasure trip, only to be stuck there by a flash flood. And it's
it.
horrifying. And they really are extremely dangerous. So please, please enter with caution and wisdom and listen to your tour guide. Don't go off on your own, and be wise about it because this is the wild. It's a park, that's true, but it is the wild. So remember that.
Great point. And one other tip I might say, and I really do want to encourage people to go, is one thing I learned about the parks, the more I'm in them, is especially the ones that are in inclement weather. It's summertime when the construction crews can work. They're waiting all year for those roads to be open. So you've got not only crowds, but you've got construction.
Mm.
And try to go in the shoulder seasons if you can, because it's a whole different experience to be in the park when it's quieter and it's lovely. But
Mm.
if you do go in the summer, just pack your patience along with you.
Yes. Yes, we went to Yosemite in early May, and all the rangers said that was a good time to come.
Yeah.
It wasn't crowded at all. So, yeah, I highly recommend that. Go in the off season if you can. Well, so when does Capture the Moment release?
Just a few weeks now, May 6th, it comes out. Really looking forward to it. I think
Wonderful.
one thing I love about it is this is a book men can read very easily. It's kind of fun to have that. Even the cover is not overly feminine. So
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
It's exactly right. It's available for pre-order right now through Baker.
And Baker is really doing a great job, and they are offering a 40% off for pre-orders, free shipping, as well as a lot of author swag. So
Ooh,
you'll get a lot of goodies with that too, which is kind of fun.
nice. And remember, folks, you can sign up for Suzanne's newsletter at SuzanneWoodsFisher.com to find out more about her upcoming projects, right?
Yes, please do. I love to connect with readers.
So what's coming next?
Well, I just turned in book 2 in this series, and that is actually set in Acadia National Park, very different from the Western parks. This is on the ocean, and there's a shipwreck involved, and a buried treasure and romance. So that's
Mm.
really fun. I have another older Amish novel coming out in the fall called A Hidden Hope. That's really a neat story about a doctor to the Amish. So it's a little bit like, I call it kind of hybrid Amish because it's got the non-Amish point of view for half the book and the Amish point of view.
Oh, wonderful. And all your Amish fans just went, yeah.
Hope so.
We'll have to talk about that one. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Well, thank you, Suzanne, for joining me today to talk about Capture the Moment, an intriguing tale about photography and the Grand Tetons National Park. This has been a delight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I wrote down some of your notes. I loved your comments.
Wasn't that a wonderful story by Suzanne Woods Fisher? Capture the moment. And really, if you ever get a chance to go to the national parks, do it. You will not regret it. The Grand Tetons. Oh, that's still on my bucket list. And I love listening to how she developed her character and the side characters, and even the villain. She's adding a villain. The poacher's point of view. Wow, what a unique story. She has such a gift of storytelling. And I hope you, the listener, have been encouraged to try something new for your story. If you've never written from a villain's point of view, give it a try in your suspense story. I did last time and I'm doing it again now, and I really enjoy it. It stretches your writing muscles a little bit. And try creating a story where you have to truly describe something awesome like a national park. I worked hard at it to describe Venice in my Windows of Venice book, and of course Rome and the Doors of Rome. It was quite a challenge, but you know what? It really causes the reader to feel as though they're right there, and like Suzanne said, it makes them want to go. And she and I both want you to go visit as many national parks as you can. They truly are a gift of God. So go pre-order Capture the Moment today. Connect with Suzanne Woods Fisher at her website, SuzanneWoodsFisher.com. She loves to hear from you, and sign up for her newsletter. And be encouraged to keep going on your writing journey, one step at a time. Try and write something every day. And until next time, thank you so much for listening. God bless.